Hi friends, it's Cybill Sixpence. Today, I'm sharing this beautiful farmhouse and garden build. A quiet space tucked into the world where everything just feels settled. If you've been wanting to create something warm and welcoming, I'll guide you all the way through step by step from foundation to the final flourish. Take your time, build at your pace, and let's make something beautiful together. Here is your materials list. Find you the perfect spot, and let's get started. Once you have found your perfect spot, sometimes even the best spots need just a little bit of terraforming. I'm going to be adding some trees so that it gives me some privacy and some seclusion from the other builds that I have made. And then I'm going to extend some land pieces, doing my best to continue with the natural generation of the land. This should give me enough space for my house and gardens. You will need a 12 by 10 space, and I'm going to use polished granite to map out a floor plan. I'm going to start at one of the layers, and as I come off of that layers, I'm going to fill in the bottom end with additional polished granite. Then I'm going to punch some holes all in it and add texture with granite blocks and polished granite slabs. With the texture pack that I'm using right now, the slabs, when you double them up, does add another type of texture, which is really nice. Using some spruce planks, I'm going to fill in the floor area right here, and then I used strip logs to add on that front porch. I'm going to be using white terracotta for the walls. The terracotta is going to be 5 blocks high, but then I'm going to outline everything with stripped spruce logs on the outsides of the corners and not directly into the corners. Polished deep slate tiles in this texture pack looks really nice, and so I'm going to be using that for my roof. And I want a nice tall one, so I'm going to be doing stair block as I go all the way up to the peak. I do think that the gable roofing is a very nice touch, especially when you have a wide space of wall and you just kind of want to break that up. And so I am aligning my roof with the front part of the house to start having that gable look in the back, where I will eventually include a window. Once I am finished with the roof, I'm going to go back in. I'm going to add some strip log details all the way around the house. I did need to come back in here and extend the roof a little bit to incorporate the spruce log, which I wasn't thinking about when I was building the roof. But it's okay, you can add it in. For the second floor, I'm using acacia slabs so that we can have not only a ceiling for the bottom floor, but to have availability for a second floor as well. To wall up my second floor, I am using compost. I love the way that it looks in the texture pack. And then I'm going to be using oak stairs to trim out my window, adding some grass for a flower box, and coming in with some oak trap doors. Then I'm going to punch some holes down in the terracotta, but to give the window some dimension, I'm not going to use stairs this time. I'm going to be using some end wall. The end wall in this texture pack does not have that yellowy look. It's more white. It looks like a brick. It's very nice, I think. And then the windows, I'm going to be using cyan window panes. And the reason why it's cyan is because of the design that the texture pack gives. If you're not using my texture pack, many of this is going to look a little different, so you may want to consider clear glass instead. To close out my porch, I just put in some campfires and extinguished them. My little flower box here in the front is a row of spruce planks with some dirt or some grass, and then some acacia trapdoors. And then I'm going to go around the house with some spruce stairs and spruce trapdoors to have the house look like it's being supported. I added some spruce fencing along my front porch for some details and some trapdoors. And then to blend in the roof into the support beams that I'm giving. I also wrapped it with some spruce trap doors and some spruce stairs. And then I'm going to trim my roofing with some birch planks and birch stairs. Just as a little final touch to the porch, I'm going to outline it with some acacia fencing. The acacia fencing in this texture pack makes it have a nice little lacy look. I love it. I don't really do a whole lot of interior decorating. This is why I don't really show a whole lot of that in my videos. I'm not saying that I don't know how. Maybe if you would like to see me interior decorating, just leave a comment below. Let me know what you think. But I do like lighting up the place, so I did put some lighting on the inside, some lighting on the outside, popping in some warped buttons on these strip spruce logs. I'm just filling in the planter boxes with some flowers, and now we're going to get started with the garden part. I'm going to be using a combination of coarse dirt, rooted dirt, and some pathway right here just to lead it into the garden. Right here I am making a pumpkin and melon patch. I started to put in some podzol, but that ain't gonna work, so I changed it out for some regular dirt and turned that into the farm blocks, just hiding my water underneath some spruce trapdoors. Go ahead and get the land hydrated so that it's ready to be planted. And then I'm going to make me a little wheat patch right here. And all the while that I am actually making these little plots for fruits and vegetables, I'm going to be dragging that same patterning for my pathway on into the back of the house. These two little pieces of missing blocks right here, I am going to later fill them in with some podzol and make me kind of like a trellis for some vines. Something else that you can do with your garden is to have like raised flower beds. As you can see that I will make a second one right here, and there's the first one a little bit before it, where I'm just adding some extra dirt and trimming it with some spruce trapdoors, and I'm going to put sunflowers in it. Now, if you think about when the sun rises, that's the direction that the sunflowers are going to face. You could put sunflowers in a section of your yard that looks more aesthetic to how the build is laid out. Another raised garden bed could be even the sweet berries. That way you don't constantly get yourself stuck or hurt by picking them up. And so now I have this larger portion. I think I'm going to put some potatoes because that's primarily what I eat a lot when I'm in the Survival Disconnected series. Then back here I'm going to make me a little patch for some sugar cane. I'm going to be hiding my water as always. It will be underneath the fence. And though I am mixing aesthetics with needs, I'm also just trying to keep in mind if I was building this in a survival world, what would my needs be? What do I eat most of? To make the trellises here is just some acacia fencing and then lining the tops from one fence to the other with some acacia trapdoors and then putting on those glowberries. It looks so nice. If you trim everything out in your favorite fence, mine happens to be acacia in this particular texture pack. And of course, what's a little farm without any farm animals? Although I do put some chickens, I don't think they stay. They wander off, but I do put in a sheep in later. If it's going to be an everything garden, it's going to have to include some netherwort, so we're going to have a string of that. We set that up much like we did the sweet berries. If you are next to a river or a pond, you could add a dock. This is completely optional. I just echoed what it looks like on my porch with some stripped spruce logs and some acacia trapdoors, which I like the textures of that. Being that it's a dock, you may want to think about where does the water go. And then you're just going to make sure that you have enough lighting to keep all of the monsters away. The bees are optional and doesn't have to be a beehive. It can be a bee box. But I thought that was really nice touch. It brings a whole lot of life into the farm. Now, as far as me and my build, I've decided to plant some more saplings down to give myself a little bit more privacy from the rest of the world. It's optional for you. Thank you for spending time with me here today. And if this little build brought you some inspiration, I'd be happy to have you subscribe. There's always more to create and always more to share, and I'd love to walk this path with you. Happy building!